Coming up, I'm going to tell you why your side hustle is actually delaying your real business and why, if you're a side hustler, you're really not an entrepreneur. Stay tuned. What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.co. And in this video, I want to share why, if you're doing a side hustle, then you're not really an entrepreneur. Look, if you listen back to episode 500, where I come on and share the presentation that I gave at Tradecraft, the talk I gave at Tradecraft, it took me a really long time to admit that I was an entrepreneur because I kept thinking that these side hustles made me a real entrepreneur. But I'm gonna tell you why that's not the case. So reason number one, your side business is not a real business, okay? You don't feel the sense of urgency that you get, the sickness that you get when your real business is not going well that you do with your side business. Look, it's on the side for a reason. That's why we call it a side business. If it fails, you don't care, or else I didn't care when I had side businesses. I didn't care if they failed. I just moved on to the next side business. There is a good thing, though, about these side businesses. I've got a stat here from the Academy of Management that says, I'm going to read this to you, businesses that are launched while the founder is still working at a day job and later leave and make this side business into their full-time focus are 1/3 less likely to fail than those that started out as a full-time business. So you're more likely to succeed if you turn your side hustle into a real business, but it's not a real business. You don't have that urgency. But the good news is, if you finally get the courage, like I finally did, to make your side hustle into a real business, then you're more likely to succeed, all right? Number two, it's time consuming, all right? Look, you're kind of using this side business. You're working a 9 to 5 probably. You're using the nights and weekends for your side hustle, right? It's time consuming. It's probably affecting your mood. It definitely affected my mood back when I was doing this on the side hustle. And the productivity just falls off the face of the earth. And you're really not happy because you're grouchy because you stayed up too late and then you had to go to your 9 to 5. It's very much time consuming. And that's not a real business. Time is your friend. You need to actually, a real business, you're using less of your time and working on things that matter to you and you're able to hire out. And that's not a real business. A side hustle, you're doing everything. And that's why you have no time. And the fact is, your side hustle, you do it when you have the time, but your real business, you make the time for it. Let me be clear on that. I'm gonna repeat that for you. Your side business, you work on when you have the time. Your real business, you make the time for it because you got to make the time for it, all right? And lastly, the most important things, it's hard to scale that side business. I know very few, some have done it, but it's very rare because you're doing everything because it's still on the side. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the design, you're doing the writing, you're doing the development, and you're not putting your full-on effort into it because again, it's on the side. So it's hard to scale. You know, why do you think the people like YC, people, investors want you to go full time on these things? Yes, it's okay to be on the side, but they want you to go full time on it so that your number one focus is this business. So it's really hard to scale these side businesses. And that's where I think look, I was on this boat. I thought for the longest time that because I had all these side hustle businesses that I was an entrepreneur. And I want to talk to you, the person who believes the same thing as I did. It took me a long time to think that. It took me 3 years, maybe 2 years into my full-time business. Actually, let's scratch that. The first year, I knew that this side hustle stuff was not a real entrepreneurial stuff because I felt the pain. I felt the struggle. I felt the hurt in my stomach that I didn't know where the money was going to come from. And I had to stay up an extra hour to just figure it out. Whereas a side hustle, I'm like, you know what? I'll get to this tomorrow. I'll get to this weekend. I'll get to it when I get to it. Maybe I never get to it, frankly, right? And so I'm speaking to you, side hustler. If you really have this entrepreneurial spirit inside of you, I want you to continue growing this side business. Because like I said, the stats are there. We're more likely to succeed if we started on the side and then we've turned that into a full business. The stats are there. I've been able to prove it. I'm one of the stats that say, look, we've got a profitable, sustainable business because I started this on the side. But you have to set a date. You have to have the courage to finally say this side business will replace my full-time income, will do it, and I'm gonna leave. You have to take that leap, all right? And I'll see you next week on the next video. Bye.